Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment, and we finally managed to get back together here after a very long hiatus here. We had a tennis thing going on for me, and people traveling a little bit, and a lot of stuff going on in our personal lives. We couldn't quite get back together again, but this was a project that we wanted to get back together on. We've been talking about for a very long time. A very special video series that we're excited to bring you, and it's our top 100 favorite movies of all time. And please note that this is not a definitive list of the best films ever, but rather a collection of our personal favorites that's kind of left a lasting impact on each one of us as individuals. So I expect our list to be completely different. So over the course of the next 10 weeks, we're going to be doing 10 different videos where we'll be counting down 10 movies at a time. Tonight, we'll be starting at number 100 and working our way down to number one eventually as we work down the road. Look for each one of us to have unique insights about the movies that we chose, the reasons behind it, and maybe why the video has a special place in our heart as well. So joining me tonight, I'm going to kind of introduce them in the order that they're going to go tonight. I've got Randy Nelson. Welcome, Randy. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Yep. Rich Strickler. Make sure to check out his channel. He's starting a new series with Glenn Kellaway. You might want to check out as well on his channel where they're listing their top 10 songs. I think they're going through the alphabet, and we already went through the A's today, Rich. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Perfect. And then I'm going to go third myself. I wanted to do that, so eventually down the line, I will be the one in the last video going last. And Doc, so you get to do cleanup tonight to kind of keep with all of that. So I want everybody to kind of sit back, relax, make sure you like, sub, and comment down below. And especially, I would love to see the comment section just, filled with other people's rankings as we go along. Love to see what your guys' top 100 movies are, or favorite films, and it would be really well worth it. Guys, I know it's been a while since we got together on this, but I know that you guys kind of chimed in from time to time. Tell me about your experience in coming up with your top 100.
I'll jump in real quick.
What? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Doc.
Oh, I was going to say that this is impossible. This is like your favorite list, and I got 1,000 favorite movies, man. So, order and preference. You may be at the top of the list. It's probably never going to move in some sense. If it does, it's just a position here and there. But you get the last 50 or 75 or whatever like that. You're going to think it flip flop all over the place. But the list could be huge. It's a favorite list. It's not the best of list. So
right,
just keep that in your back pocket as you watch. We're just having fun with it, but just something I'm sure that means something to all of us at one time or another in our lives, and are still with us, and that's where it's at.
Right. Rich?
Yep, I agree. These are favorites, like you hinted at the beginning of the opening there, and a lot of my all-time, what I consider best or landmark or monumental films, aren't even going to be on this list. These are the ones I rewatch, go back to. I love the experience of watching them more than anything. So a lot of the heavyweights that I often talk up in our previous videos are just not going to make the cut because I don't consider them favorites. They're works of art, maybe, but they're not considered favorites. So that's where I'm at.
Randy?
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Rich said. These are ones that are rewatchable at any time, and you'll find that my list is filled with some of my favorite genres, which are thrillers, film noir, and screwball comedies.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I did. Mine was basically the same thing as you guys said. I had a little bit of a combination of all, I think, but a lot of these you're going to recognize immediately. These are types of movies that I would gravitate to: sci-fi, horror, a lot of those types of movies. Very some artsy films as well. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of jumping in on this. Last thing I want to ask you guys to do at the end of it is make sure you send me an email of your the list that you went over tonight, so that I also have a list that I can go by when I'm doing the editing. It makes it a little bit easier on me so that I can organize them a little bit. Sometimes I may mishear you, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I would rather have it in writing somewhere, but rather than me pull up the wrong movie. I don't want that to ever happen. So, and stranger things have happened. So without further ado, I think we should jump in. And Randy, you get the con first, my friend. So lay it on us.
All right. So like I said, my number 100, I'm going to start out with a film noir, and that's The Woman in the Window from 1944. Fritz Lang directed. Fritz Lang always liked to challenge
production code at the time, and he did quite a bit with this seductive noir. He did have to change the original ending, though, from the production board, and this has Edward G. Robinson as this professor who gets in over his head with Joan Bennett. She is the woman in the window. It's a great thrilling noir, and some people, may dismiss it because of the tacked-on ending, but he had to do that, and he kind of just tacked on the ending because he wanted to say "F you" to the production code. So that's why it's like that. But it's still a great film. Number 99. It's from 1941, Nothing But the Truth. Elliot Nugent is the director. I think this is Bob Hope's funniest film. In this, he makes a bet that he can tell the truth for 24 hours. And he goes on this weekend retreat on this houseboat where his colleagues put him in embarrassing situations with these pointed questions. It also has the beautiful Paulette Goddard, who was Mrs. Charlie Chaplin at the time. A couple of recent movies that kind of took on this premise, but this is the better one, Nothing But the Truth. Number 98 is The Conversation, Francis Ford Coppola from 1974, starring Gene Hackman as a surveillance expert, and one of his best performances, I think. And he thinks he has picked up a possible planned murder from his surveillance, and this leads to this intriguing storyline where he starts suspecting that his employers are spying on him, and this paranoid side kicks in. It's just a great commentary on the lack of privacy, and I think it's still relevant today. Number 97 from 1997. Curtis Hanson directs L.A. Confidential, which is a great neo-noir set in the 1950s L.A. with scandal sheets, prostitutes modeled after famous actresses, a police detective that is a technical advisor on a television show, a straight-laced detective, and then a rule-breaking detective, and how it all comes together with some recent murders. Fine performances by Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, Kevin Spacey, and then Kim Basinger, who won an Oscar.
Yep.
All right, my number 96. And from 1981, Lawrence Kasdan's Body Heat, another neo-noir, with William Hurt and Kathleen Turner. Kathleen Turner plays the great femme fatale. Both were relatively new at this filming, and it was Kathleen's movie debut. This movie oozes sweltering heat. You can see them sweating all the time. But in fact, that was water that was sprayed on them because it was like freezing cold when they were doing these scenes. But it has this great noirish dialogue with some great sexiness that they couldn't get away with in those 40s noirs. But Body Heat, number 96 for me. All right. 95. Seven Samurai from 1954, Akira Kurosawa. Kurosawa's epic, and it is an epic because it's 3 hours and 27 minutes long. Most people here know it through the American version, remade as the Western The Magnificent Seven. This one delves deeply into samurai culture and traditions. It has a spirited performance by Toshiro Mifune, who plays a lower class person that becomes a samurai, which didn't happen very often. It also has a forbidden romance, plenty of action. If you enjoyed The Magnificent Seven, you need to watch the OG.
Right. That's right.
All right. Number 94 is from 1963, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. This movie made a lasting impression on me. In fact, the other day, I was just walking in the neighborhood. This one house had like tons of birds on it, and it still gave me a little trepidation, even though it's a long time after that. But it was more of a horror movie like Psycho than an out-and-out thriller. One of the most innocent of creatures becomes a symbol of terror, and a bird with Rod Taylor and Tippi Hedren, whose aristocratic characters does not work for some people, but I think it works perfectly, and I think it still packs a punch.
Yeah.
All right. Number 93, I think Doc will like this one. From 1964, Guy Hamilton directs Goldfinger. He would go on to direct several of the Bond films. While Dr. No is the first in the Bond franchise, It's Goldfinger that I kind of think set the template for what a Bond film should be. It has my favorite Bond and Sean Connery, the best theme song, my favorite Bond girl nemesis and Honor Blackman, a great villain in the title character portrayed by Gert Frobe, and maybe the best henchman in Odd Job. This one has everything going for it, and it still stands up today. All right, 92. From 1980, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, maybe the best Stephen King adaptation. I remember the beginning because you're following along. Well, after he meets with the people, and they're going up to the hotel, you're going in the car, and all of a sudden there's a curve. Car goes this way, and the camera goes straight off the curb. And with the camera work and the story, you're in for a ride for this movie. There's so many unforgettable sequences. Little Danny riding his big wheels down the hall. Shelley Duvall reading the manuscript of what Jack Nicholson has been writing. The Here's Johnny that probably a lot of the newer audience probably won't know what that means. And the garden maze run through the snow, just fantastic.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
And my number 91, from 1953, Anthony Mann's Naked Spur. Great psychological Western. This pits James Stewart versus Robert Ryan. And James Stewart is bent on revenge and wanting to catch the murderer, Robert Ryan. After he catches him, it turns out that it's quite a challenge because Ryan's conniving ways, along with his female companion, played by Janet Leigh. And he also gets two unwelcome partners in this. It's beautiful color cinematography. It was filmed in the Colorado Rockies. And Robert Ryan is just great as the sly nemesis. And Stewart's character is just as obsessive as he is in Vertigo. Anthony Mann knew how to make a good Western, and that's my number 91.
Wow. You know what?
Nice.
I love your list. And what amazes me more than anything is I've actually seen 9 of these 10. I thought for sure I was going to be going into Randy's list every week going, I haven't seen these.
I'm saying the only one I haven't seen is the Bob Hope movie.
That's the only one I have not seen is that one, the Nothing But the Truth. That's it. Everything else I had seen. I was really surprised. I love it though. I think it's a great mix of eclectic movies there. I like it.
Very good.
Thanks. Great list. Right. Totally. And the Bond on there is a nice little throw in there for me too, Randy.
Any list that has the body heat and the conversation, I'm all in. Two of my favorites.
That's excellent. All right. So, Rich, you're going to be up next, my friend.
All right. A little different. In fact, I think we do have one in common already in this back end of the 100 here, but we'll get to it. Number 100 for me is The Bad Seed from 1956. This is a really frightening, chilling kind of movie. It's very stagey in a way. It's a film play. It's about this little 8-year-old girl who loses a penmanship award, and this boy that won the award disappears, and she's accused of harming him or killing him or whatever. And it sinks deeper into the abyss from there. She sort of gets her own way. She's named Rhoda, played by Patty McCormack, a wonderful child performance. The little blonde pigtails, and she's stamping her feet and playing the piano. Yes, mommy. Yes, mommy. She puts on her front, but underneath you got pure evil. I don't want to give too much away, but I remember watching this as a kid growing up it was on the Late Show, what they called the Late Show back then, with old movies before cable came in, and it had a lasting effect on me, and that's why I put it on the list. I wanted to put it somewhere on here just to honor it and remember it. Got supporting cast here from Henry Jones as the caretaker, Eileen Heckard as the boy's mother that dies, and Nancy Kelly as the mom of Rhoda. So it's really a cool little memoir here. Number 99. I don't like a lot of musicals, but this one made my list. It's Swing Time, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers from 1936. I think it's the best of the Astaire Rogers movies. Others get more acclaim, like Top Hat and The Gay Divorcee. They're fine, but this is my favorite one. It's got some really memorable dance sequences that are like, you cannot believe that they did these without a cut. They're just showing you their talent. It's movie magic, and I wanted to put it on the list at number 99. Number 98 is one that Randy and I share respect for, and that's The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock from 1963. I wanted to put it on the list too. It's not as terrifying now as it was when I first saw it again on television as a kid, but it still packs those chills and thrills. The birds on the monkey bars in the playground, that whole schoolyard scene where they're chasing the kids, the gas station scene, or somebody lights a cigarette. Just great stuff. The ending is interesting. Tippi Hedren, Rod Taylor, Jessica Tandy is Rod's mom, I guess, and Suzanne Pleshette are the cast. It's very builds a lot of tension throughout, and it's kind of irresistible. I think 1963's The Birds. Number 97 is one that we talked about recently. Comedy 1977 Slapshot, the great hilarious hockey movie, minor league hockey movie with Paul Newman. So many laughs in here, so many memorable scenes. The Hanson brothers putting on the foil, all the shenanigans and escapades that go on. The language, it's raunchy, it's raw. I love everything about it. It captures that minor league experience. It captures small town America a little bit. 1970s, you see the hairstyle and the clothing, and the soundtrack's pretty good as well. Directed by George Roy Hill, who teamed up with Paul in several great films. Number 96, another comedy. I went back to back here. Animal House from 1978. Going to make my list somewhere, and I put it at number 96. Directed by John Landis. John Belushi, of course. Just as Bluto Bultarsky. He's just at his slovenly best here with the food fighting and going down the line, the cafeteria, and loading his tray up and slurping the Jello. And some of the lines he has here, was it over when the Germans attacked Pearl Harbor? That kind of 7 years down the effing drain because he got kicked out of the college.
Right.
He's never going to make it anyway. I'd like the frat house humor. The toga parties, the food fights, the beer guzzling, the peeping Tom scene where he's hopping along with the ladder. I mean, deflowering the dean's daughter. I mean, just it goes on and on. It's classic. That boy is a PIG pig. There's just so many great lines. It makes my list. Number 95. This is one that I really wish would show up more on TV because I like watching it. And that's Kiss Me Deadly from 1955, directed by Robert Aldrich. Sort of a low-budget film noir, written by Mickey Spillane, the novel, and then Mike Hammers, the L.A. detective. Very complex mystery. There's some great locations here, including that beach house at the end of the movie. The glowing suitcase, which Tarantino borrowed for Pulp Fiction, shows up in here too. Kind of mysterious. You got Cloris Leachman and Struthers Martin in here as small roles. Ralph Meeker as Mickey Spillane. So good movie. Number 94 is Blood Simple, the Coen brothers' first film from 1984. Frances McDormand, who was married to Joel Coen, or still is. It's just her first film as well. And M. Emmett Walsh as the sleazy detective. Gritty crime thriller, stylishly directed. There's a scene with a shovel. They're dragging along the gravel there that I'll never forget. It's violent. It's funny at times. And you got the private eye here. Walsh, hired by the boss of a bartender who's having an affair with his wife, and it's just an interesting movie, and it set the template for their career, I think. Number 93 is Diner from 1982, directed by Barry Levinson. I like this ensemble cast here with Steve Guttenberg and Kevin Bacon and Mickey Rourke and Daniel Stern and Ellen Barkin, and Paul Reiser. Really a funny kind of movie, great dialogue, coming-of-age film set in Baltimore at a diner in the late 50s. Mickey Rourke is this charismatic he's a hairdresser by day, womanizer, and he's got gambling debts. The Sharks are looking for him. Kevin Bacon is an underachieving, real genius kind of guy who sits around and plays Jeopardy, and he's a total nonconformist. I like his character. And you got Ellen Barkin and Daniel Stern stuck in a kind of a miserable, unhappy marriage. Guttenberg is a husband-to-be, and he demands that his wife pass this Baltimore Colts trivia quest or contest in order to, she has to get 70% or something, or else the wedding's off. Very humorous. Number 92 is Rounders, 1998. About one of the best movies about poker, with all due respect to the Cincinnati Kid. I like Rounders too. It's kind of inside the game, the language. John Malkovich is this Russian that sort of a gangster that they have to go to head to head with. You got Matt Damon and Ed Norton as the two guys. It's Matt's film, but Ed Norton is his best friend just getting out of prison, and he can't play by the rules. He has to always have an angle. He's got to cheat. And he's constantly getting these guys into all these tremendous situations. And Oreos, remember Oreos? They play a key role in this film here. My 91st and final one of the evening is The Green Mile, 1999. I've always loved prison movies. I don't know what it is. I hope I don't end up there one day, but this is another interesting one. Tom Hanks is the lead. You got Sam Rockwell in here, and Barry Pepper, David Morse, James Cromwell, and Michael Clark Duncan. Fantastic performance with some supernatural overtones. It's a tad long, but it's very emotionally rewarding, I think. Unforgettable scenes, especially that electric chair scene. Mr. Jingles as the mouse brings a little charm to the proceedings. So I really enjoyed The Green Mile, and it's going to make my list here, number 91.
Nice.
Very good.
Yep. Good mix of the old and the new. That's for sure.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, there's one there that I haven't seen either. It's a lot easier to guess on this one.
It's the musical.
It's a musical.
The musical.
Just not going to do it, you know?
Yeah,
So-
I don't blame you. But I was skeptical too. I only watched it maybe 10 or 15 years ago. And I said, I know I'm not going to like this. I watched it. I watched all the Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movies on a marathon. And that was the one I liked the best.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, Malkovich and Rounders, just classic. Give the man, he's the
He
money.
fantastic.
All right. All right. So I'll mosey on and get my list here going.
Yep.
I'll start here at number 100. I've got at 100 for me. I've got True Grit, the 2010 version by the Coen brothers, remake obviously of the classic Western, starring Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon and Haley Steinfeld, who's that's her like big debut for her. I like this one a little bit better than the other one, although I do love the one with John Wayne as well. Probably because it's a little bit closer to the source material. Just love the style of directing. The tones in it are wonderful. The cinematography is great, and the great ensemble cast is just really, really nice. Number 99, I've got an animated movie here by Hayao Miyazaki, Spirited Away from 2001. Won Best Animated Feature Film from the Academy Awards in that particular year. A very spiritual movie, engaging. And if you look at a lot of top movie lists of all time from various publications or anything, if there's an animated movie that is on there, it is typically, this one is usually the one that's always ranked the highest. So I would recommend, even if you're not into anime at all, this would be a movie that you could actually watch with a really good story. Number 98 for me, from Alex Garland from 2014, I've got Ex Machina. I think obviously there's not been that many, but it's the best AI movie and interpretation of consciousness and free will since probably 2001, A Space Odyssey. The tale of Ava, an artificial person who orchestrates a means of her own escape from her abusive creator, and her journey to understand the human condition. Oscar Isaacs is in it. Also Domhnall Gleeson. I'm trying to make sure I pronounce his name right. He's been in a lot of movies lately too. And just does a fantastic job in it. But yeah, I really think this is a really strong movie. And considering the times that we're in now with artificial intelligence, it's becoming more and more relevant even as we speak. So number 97, I've got A River Runs Through It from Robert Redford, 1992, based on the novel by Norman MacLean. The story of two brothers growing up in Montana who both take two very different paths in life, starring Brad Pitt and Craig Sheffer and Tom Skerritt as their Bible-wielding father, who kind of grows up teaching his boys not just the Word of God, but also about nature and basically a lot of life lessons through fly fishing and through the Scripture as well. I think it's just one. Robert Redford does the best I call them American mythology movies uh, of all the directors that I can think of. He just does a fantastic job of like bringing American stories to life in a way that just seems really authentic. And I've always enjoyed his movies, so wanted to include this one. Number 96, I got Christopher Nolan from year 2000, Memento, the psychological thriller about Leonard Shelby, who suffers from this anterior-grade amnesia as he tries to uncover who killed his wife. It's known for its shifting colors that kind of correspond to its nonlinear style narrative that's going on. Basically, each time he goes to sleep, he forgets the events that happened from the day before. So he starts tattooing relative thoughts that can play a part in helping him to solve the mystery. But and he has to try to piece it together over longer and longer periods of time before he kind of loses everything. It's just really smartly done. It would be a start of a long list of movies that Christopher Nolan would do that really kind of challenges, our sensibilities a little bit, makes us think a little bit for movies. Number 95, I've got Dark City by Alex Proya from 1998. Science fiction mixed with neo-noir elements. It stars Rufus Sewell as John Murdoch, a man trying to clear his name and discover his true identity and avoid these mysterious strangers who, like himself, that he'll eventually find have these really strong telekinetic powers. I think the standout performance in the movie is Kiefer Sutherland's doctor role, where he has this weird psychological cadence to his voice that's just kind of eerie and off-putting at first, but after you kind of get used to that, you just kind of go along with his character, and it's a fantastic movie. So number 94, I've got A Few Good Men by Rob Reiner from 1992. This is just one of those movies I can watch at absolutely any time, at any point in the movie. If it's on, I will let it play out till the end of it. Tom Cruise, one of his best performances as Lieutenant Kaffee, who is responsible for the death of a young Marine private at Gitmo, as he also tries to live up to the legend that was his father. Outstanding performance by Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, Kevin Pollak, Kiefer Sutherland has a great role in it, as well as does Kevin Bacon. Just an all-star cast. Very well done all the way through. I think it's just a rewatchable movie 1,000 times and more, and it still wouldn't even bother me to do so. So from at number 93 from 1983, Lawrence Kasdan's The Big Chill. Would be me and my wife's movie if we had to pick a movie that was truly ours. It's about a group of privileged college friends who reunite after the death of one of their own, played by Kevin Costner, maybe his best role. The friends explore and contemplate how strong their bond truly was as they seek to find a path forward in their lives. I think William Hurt's performance is hugely notable. He was on kind of a great run of hit movies in the 80s, and this would be right there, maybe the top 3 performances for me anyway from him. So I wanted to include it. Number 92, I've got A Quiet Place by John Krasinski from 2018. I think it's very smartly done. A horror film. A family is thrusted into a world with alien creatures who are drawn to sound, who want to and also want to eradicate the human race. Really known for its great buildup of tension with little to no sound whatsoever throughout the movie. John Krasinski produced, directed, and starred alongside his wife, Emily Blunt. Just a smart horror films, which in a time where we were just enduring just a lot of bad horror films, it was really nice change of pace. And last for me is at 91, I've got Fred Zinnemann's 1953 From Here to Eternity, a movie that I absolutely love. I love Montgomery Clift in it as a private haunted by his own past as a boxer, as he seeks to find both love and life on the cusp of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Great performances in this movie, also Burt Lancaster and Frank Sinatra. I just one of those movies that I watched for the first time in film class, and I had to immediately had to own it, and it's a movie I can go back to and watch, quite often. So that's my guys right there.
Outstanding. I like the fact you got A River Runs Through It, and From Here to Eternity. You got some really good ones in there.
Yeah, sure you do, man. That's it's a great list at the top end of the bottom of 100, man. That's a great list. For sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. Doc, you get to wrap this up, buddy.
Here we go. Like I said, man, really hard to do. So don't shoot the messenger on this, man. This is just stuff I'm putting it off and go. So I got 1,000 movies I can watch at any time. Right now, this is my top 100. I probably do it at any time. But I'll go with the Christmas classic to start, man. I got Christmas Vacation at 100. So I'm gonna drop that in right now. Because at Christmas time, I do watch it at any time, man. So it's the Griswold family, the dysfunctional family of everyone getting together, and I just find it freaking hilarious. If you want the truth, man, you want a funny Christmas movie and everything else. It's a seasonal thing, but it cracks the top 100 because it is so bloody funny. And Randy Quaid's a complete idiot the whole movie.
Yeah.
So then Chevy Chase is an idiot too. Brian Domer. I loved everybody that shows up. Definitely D'Angelo with the wife and stuff like that. I don't think there's anything wrong having Christmas Vacation in your top 100 if you're going to throw in something at one time. I could drop that in there. Then there's stuff that you always go back to in your life and everything else. So my number 99, I'm going to go with back to 93. Sidney Pollack's The Firm with Tom Cruise. Gene Hackman, Ed Harris, Hal Holbrook's in this. I just love the way this movie flows, man, of Tom Cruise, becoming an up-and-coming lawyer, getting into a firm, and it's not exactly what he signed up for when he thought he had the job of a lifetime. So the big setup, the house, and everything else, and it just kind of goes sideways. It's got a few of my favorites in here. I have a lot of appreciation for Cruise, and Gene Hackman's really at the top tier for me, man. So I think The Firm's a great thriller kind of stuff, and I can take that anytime, man. 98. From 98, I'm going to go to 1990. So another one of those personal ones for me, man. Sam Raimi's The Dark Man. It's going to be my number 98. So there, Francis McDormand made an appearance, man. Just not in Blood Simple one there for you, Rich. Just Dark Man. So with Liam Neeson, but it's some city plans found out that might have gone awry and stuff like this, and the bad guys find out. He's a scientist, and it's I think the way this movie's shot, it's always stuck with me. I think it's fantastic to watch visually. I think it's really well done. It's a campiness to it. It's the beginning of the making of a superhero in some senses and stuff like that. The vigilante superhero, the Dark Man, and it's just always played on me. Always loved it, and once again, anytime it's on, I'm watching Dark Man, and yeah, I own that one. So I own all these actually. 97. 97, I'm going to go to 1956. So, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There we go for me. This is I think this is a Don Siegel movie, right? Kevin McCarthy. I know it probably I thought about having maybe a couple on my list, but spoiler alert, there won't be any other Invasion of the Body Snatchers on my list. So this is where it stands. So this is my favorite of the two. I just find Kevin McCarthy's performance in this has always been just so over the top and so just craziness and stuff like that. The first 20 minutes of the movie or something like that, you're into it. And then after that, it just goes like on a turbo force where it's nonstop, where it's just it builds on itself, builds on itself, builds on itself, where it's that sci-fi horror. And it's always found to be one of the classics in that genre, if you want the truth. So I have no problem there. 97 was Invasion of the Body Snatchers. 96, I go to 99. So with Steve Martin's Bill Figure. Because I think it's an underrated comedy that doesn't get talked about enough. I love the movie, obviously. And it's I think it's an underappreciated performance from Eddie Murphy about Steve Martin's character just trying to write a Hollywood movie to get some big actor to play in it, and he can't get anybody, but he starts filming him anyway. And so he finds out he's got a twin brother, and other things happen from there. But it's just a comedy of I think it's the way it plays on itself, and the way it can laugh at itself while it makes the whole movie. I think it's just classic comedy. You talked about before, Randy, about some bubbling comedies making appearances here, and I'm going to have a few on my list of 100. I can tell you that right now in here a second. Here's one here. So I'll go right to 96. Which will take me to 1979. It's The Warriors. It's going to make my list.
Ooh.
these are movies I can just watch at any time, man. I don't want to. This is I'm put on the Warriors, man. This is this is
Hey, Warriors!
not to play. Yay! Here you go. It's Walter Hill's classic gangs of New York, shall we say, all getting together and talking about rules, regulations, or whatever else was going to happen. And they meet. Cyrus, one of the leaders of, shall we say, all the gangs, gets taken out, and the Warriors get pinned for the murder. And meanwhile, it wasn't them, but they're just trying to get back to Coney Island, man. So it's you run through a whole bunch of different gangs as they do it, stuff like this. It's just a classic movie, great soundtrack, best ending song in the movie, "Within the City" from the Eagles. So
Yeah.
I got the Warriors at 95. That leads me to 94. 94, I've got Capricorn 1 from 1977.
Wow.
Always found I got soft spots for some movies that I think just get overlooked, man. I just love watching them. So Capricorn 1's like that. It's Elliot Gould, Hal Holbrook again, James Brolin. The Juice is in this, Sam Waterston. Just about some shady stuff going on with NASA and landing on the moon. Did it happen? One of those kind of questions, and the extent some things that people will go to and stuff like that. Always loved it. It's a great kind of thriller to it. And even Telly Savalas making the appearance. I think I mentioned that before. Joe love when he pops up there with his little Cessna there and just starts flying around too. So it's a great movie, man. I love it. Leads me to 93. Am I right there? Hope I got this right.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 93 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The original of the best B movies, I think, of all time. Talk about the original Wrong Turn Gone Wrong, the stuff, and standing up there, running out of gas and all these kind of things that play on future horror movies or V slasher movies or anything else that you see in the future. And Toby Hooper did it right here, man. Let's say, he was all in on Poltergeist or anything else like that later on, but that's more of a Spielberg thing. But Texas Chainsaw is a classic horror movie, classic horror slasher, classic whatever you want to call it. But it starts the genre off, but it's really well done with a whole bunch of nobodies, no budget. This is a budget movie, man. It cost 190 grand to make this thing or something. And all it really is the wrong turn the wrong way, and where it goes down a really bad road for some kids. So I find it to be one of the classics, man. So yeah, it's in my top 100. That's what I can tell you. That's my 93. 92 is going to go to Cloverfield. I like a really good monster movie once in a while in my life. So I'm going to put on Cloverfield when it's there at that time of time. So I just think it's a really good monster flick, man. A little newer for us. J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves directed it. It's got the whole hand camera kind of look to it, or if you can follow it and stuff like that. But it's, Matt Reeves is one of the better directors today, I think, and he's showing it early in his career here. Like it's 2008. I think it shows you a really good movie. If you can follow it, if you can live with the hand camera thing or the Blair Witch kind of look, you'll. If this is like something you want to have a good time watching a monster, go watch this, man. Friggin' flying in. This is a guy flick, man. This is crap flying in from outer space, landing into New York, and things exploding and disaster and all that kind of crap. But it's a fun watch, man. I guess I'll end my 91 with another Bond, but I got Casino Royale here from 2006. Daniel Craig. I debate my Bonds and stuff and how I rank things, but here I've got Casino Royale. I think it's just a fantastic Bond flick. And we've talked about it before on different occasions and stuff like this. This has everything you want, man. This has the action, the Bond, the sequences, and from the get-go, man, one of the best openings you're going to see in a flick, man. So it's got a soft spot for Casino Royale too, man. So that's going to end up my 91st pick of my top 100.
Well, I was worried there for a second because I think I had $5 bet that you're definitely going to have a Bond in your first 10, and you almost ruined it for me. I could have lost some money. What surprises me the most, which I don't mind, is the fact that you said you like the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers more than the Philip Kaufman one from the 70s.
Yeah.
Wow.
And don't get me wrong, it's a great movie. I just like the other one better. I like the campiness of the other one a little bit better, and plays on it a little better. It's just a better watch for me. That's all. Don't get me wrong.
Right. And that's the great thing about it. I'm sitting there looking at our list now. What's really cool about them is that if going into it, I didn't know obviously what you would pick, but now if somebody were to read me 10 movies, from somebody's list, I could have easily told which one of you guys it was.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially, like easy for you, Doc, it's like a couple of things to stick right out, You love comedies.
Yeah.
And you're really big in your horror. So I mean, yours would have been a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
And as soon as there was a movie that I never heard of, I knew it would be Randy's list.
That's the way it's going to go. Every sequence, every time we do one, it's going to be the same. You'll be able to tell if we didn't have our faces up, whose list was who. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
totally.
Just, it fits, how everything was going. We all had horror. I mean, we all had horror movies, but we all had very different horror movies.
Yeah.
You had Texas Chainsaw, and there was The Birds and The Shining, and then I had Quiet Place. They're all different types of horror movies.
Yeah.
So I think it was great. I think this is a great exercise, and as we go along, we won't even know how many we're really matched on until this thing's all done.
Until it's done.
Because right now we've been for a long time.
Because I heard some movies that I'm going to get to later down the road.
Yeah,
for sure.
Down the road, without giving anything away. Down the road, there are some here that are definitely going to be talked about again. So for sure. But what a great exercise! I really appreciate you guys joining me to do this and everything. Make sure everybody out there, make sure you like, sub, and comment. Check out Randy's channel. Check out Rich's channel as well, and the new series that he has going on. And I always joke around that you should visit doxyharmony.com page whenever you get a chance. So, but I really appreciate you guys joining me for this exercise. This is going to be really fun.
Yep.
I'll put this video up there each and every week. This is next week. We'll be filming our obviously number 90 through 81. So that'd be another great video for us to work on. And in the meantime, and next. I'll leave it at that and look forward to doing our next video. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Peace out.